It started with something as simple as a parking spot. I'd lived in my townhouse for 7 years, and the spot directly in front of my unit was clearly marked with my number. But one morning, I woke up to find fresh paint on the asphalt. My number had been replaced with HOA reserved. At first, I thought it was a mistake. By the end of the week, I realized it was deliberate. The HOA board had taken my spot for themselves. If you enjoy true revenge stories where ordinary people take down arrogant HOAs, make sure to subscribe to our channel right now so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping twist. I confronted the board president, Marcia, who smirked like she had been waiting for this. "It's common property," she said. "The board has decided to reassign spots." "But you reassigned mine," I replied. "And I wasn't even consulted." She shrugged. "Decisions don't need to be unanimous. Besides, you can park at the overflow lot near the dumpster." Overflow lot? Near the dumpster? That wasn't just inconvenient, it was insulting. Every night I'd return home late from work, arms full of groceries, only to trudge half a block past neatly empty HOA-reserved spaces, including the one I'd paid for in my HOA dues. The neighbors noticed. Some sympathized, whispering about how Marcia always gave herself perks. Others kept quiet, afraid of retaliation. But I wasn't the type to back down. I pulled out my contract, the official purchase documents. Right there in black and white, it stated that each homeowner's assigned parking spot was deeded property, not common space. In other words, the HOA couldn't take it away. When I presented this at the next board meeting, Marcia rolled her eyes. "You can hire a lawyer if you want," she sneered. "But it won't change anything." Oh, those words lit a fire under me. Because not only could I hire a lawyer, I already had one in mind. What Marcia and her little board didn't know was that my brother-in-law was a real estate attorney who loved nothing more than to dismantle power-tripping HOAs. We filed a formal complaint and gave the board notice: restore my spot or face court. They laughed. They thought I wouldn't follow through. So I did. By the time the summons reached them, the smug looks had vanished. I could see them scrambling, sending out desperate emails to justify their reassignment policy. But it was too late. We were headed to court. And I was more than ready to let a judge settle this once and for all. The courtroom was small, but the stakes felt massive. On one side sat me and my brother-in-law, calm and prepared. On the other sat Marcia and 2 other board members, shuffling papers and whispering nervously. The judge wasted no time. "Mr. Bennett," he said to me, "you claim the HOA unlawfully reassigned your deeded parking spot?" "Yes, Your Honor," I said, sliding the documents forward. "Here's my deed. The parking spot is explicitly part of my property." The judge reviewed it. His brow furrowed. "Counsel for the HOA, do you dispute this?" Marcia's lawyer stood, adjusting his tie. "Your Honor, the HOA maintains that parking is subject to reassignment at the board's discretion." The judge looked back at the paper, then back at him. "At the board's discretion? This deed clearly assigns the space permanently to Mr. Bennett's unit. This is not a common property." Silence. Marcia squirmed in her chair. The judge leaned forward, voice sharp. "This case isn't even complicated. The HOA acted outside its authority and violated property rights. The parking spot must be restored immediately." I felt a rush of relief, but the best part hadn't even come yet. The judge added, "Furthermore, given the board's blatant disregard for the law, I am ordering the HOA to issue a formal apology in writing, to be read aloud at the next community meeting." Marcia's jaw dropped. "An apology? In court?" "Yes," the judge said firmly. "In front of the community you've wronged. Consider it a lesson in accountability." The HOA's lawyer slumped back into his chair. By the time the next community meeting rolled around, word had spread. Nearly every resident showed up. People packed the folding chairs, whispering excitedly. Marcia stood at the front with a paper in her shaking hands. She read, monotone and humiliated, "We, the HOA board apologized for unlawfully reassigning Mr. Bennett's parking spot. We acknowledge that our actions were inappropriate and outside our authority. We are committed to respecting homeowners' rights moving forward. The room broke into applause. Some even laughed. For once, the community wasn't afraid of the board. They were laughing at them. And me? I walked out of that meeting and parked right in my rightful spot, head held high. From that day on, no one ever dared touch my property again. As for Marcia, she eventually resigned. The HOA had lost its bite, all because they tried to steal a single parking spot. Sometimes, the smallest battles bring the most satisfying victories.